The driving force of every nation is the economic, the social, and the moral value of that nation. And that was why when you look at the African territory or the African continent during the period before the colonization process, most of the kings and the chiefs were centered on the moral values, the economy, and the social aspect of the nation. That is the cultural values. During the period of colonization, we read history books and were told by historians that one of the reasons why the white or why there was a scramble for Africa, it was because the white man wanted to spread Christianity, wanted to take Christianity from Europe to an area where they did not know God, and wanted these set of persons in Africa to know God. We were also told that those who believed in the white man religion and who follow the value of the white man religion are those that will come facem a facem in what is called face to face with God on the day their creator called them. When they came, they blacklisted our African traditional religion and made us to believe that our African traditional religion was evil and perpetrated evil and hindered our socio-economic development, and thus as territories or as nations or as countries, we cannot grow under such a religion except we embraced the white man religion. That was what we read in history. We were also told that the white man religion is good in all aspects. However, while they were spreading religion, some unit of analysis were being measured. The question many were asking at the time is that why is it that the African traditional religion that was effective, that could be able to produce tangible results, hold people accountable, and swear by the oath in which if you are lying, you are struck down by a thunder, lightning, or you fall down if you are lying, why is it that other religion that were introduced have not been able to produce this tangible result? Now, we were also made to believe that those who actually don't respect the white man religion are all evil persons. However, the same white man religion during the colonization process introduced harsh punishment, modern day slavery. In fact, slave trade was the order of the day. Maltreatment of our forebearers, our great grandparents were maltreated, treated inhumanely, despite the fact that historians told us they came to spread religion, and that embracing this religion will bring us economic and social prosperity. And so thus, when the white man came to spread this religion, the white man religion stands until this moment is against homosexuality, lesbianism, abortion. That was a religion, the Bible they introduced to us before they left Africa. And when they left Africa during the decolonization process, 60 years we are counting, the development of Africa is still stagnated. In fact, the same white man that talked about that gave us the Bible for us to believe that homosexuality, abortion is a sin. That same white man has embraced homosexuality, lesbianism. In fact, our African continent, who are true to the Bible that they were introduced to, are being labeled that they are against human rights, freedom, and democracy. They are being labeled that they are not respecting human rights. And the question we are asking is, the white man religion, did it not inform us that the Bible cannot be updated, that the Bible is one and indivisible? Or has the Bible not been updated in such a way that the values they told us, which we read and we embrace, is no longer applicable? Another reality here is that we have embraced this religion now from a different perspective. Today, we seek miracles, we run behind miracles, we live activities and go to churches, sing. If a crusade is called today in Bona Musadi in Douala, and one of our panelists, let's say Dr. Nick, calls a business model to empower youth on how to have business idea, the shocking reality here is that that crusade will have about 10,000 people, and that Dr. Nick's conference to empower youth of having business idea probably could end up with having just 200 persons, and if not 100 or 20 or 10. Those are the realities. We were witness to the Apostle Johnson Suleiman crusade in Boya. We all saw the crowd it pulled, but look at Silicon Mountain. How many crowd did he pull? The question we are asking is, how has religion helped in the socio-economic development of our country. Today, we see church leaders fighting against church leaders. We see other church leaders embracing those who are looting our money. Archbishop Desmond Tutu of blessed memory once said, "Let us not delude ourselves of singing hallelujah while our children are being judged by the color of their skin." And so, are we deluding ourselves from singing hallelujah while basic economy, enhancing production, getting people active in working are wasting? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Javis. Happy Sunday to all those of you. We are still within the period of Easter. Happy Sunday to all those of you who went to church, those who did not, and also those who are preparing to go for the evening mass like myself. Happy Sunday to you all those of you watching us in different parts of the world. Happy Sunday to you. I also have to introduce to you my guest with whom I'm going to discuss on today's edition. But before then, I want to also wish you a happy birthday to you, Yannick Caron, one of the choristers of Nego Spiritual Choir, the treasurer who celebrated the birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to you, Yannick Caron. May the good God continue to bless you and give you many more years, Yannick, and also continue to empower you in all your endeavor as you keep the money of the choir safe. And we hope that God will also continue to guide you as long as the money is safe. Okay, here in the studio we are joined by Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, who is an educational promoter, a philanthropist also, to be more precise, because Doctor has been able to help a lot of persons. He's also someone that believes in the fact that we must have a different mindset for us to develop. Doctor is a pragmatic person that believes in solution and what you can do, and not much of a talker. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam is known by many in Cameroon as a progressive CPDM, in which many are asking, when will this party take power? Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, happy Sunday. Happy
Sunday to all of you. It's a pleasure to be with us again, and we have this exciting topic to work through. And just before we get lost, we've been talking about religion or Christianity. I think a lot of people have actually lost track and don't know what those are. When you say religion, Christianity, those terms are very deceitful. When Christ came, whatever we call religion, or the Christian religion or whatever, should be about the love of Christ. That is it. But we have turned it to the love of money, commercialization. So there's a lot of fake stuff going on that which is not the love of Christ. And then a couple of people, I think, as Javis was speaking, many pastors, many politicians, and many native doctors are now one at the same people. So there's a lot of confusion.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Also here in the studio, we are joined by Nick Anu, who is also a member of the civil society. Nick Anu, happy Sunday, Lele.
Happy Sunday to you, Tah Javis Mai. Happy Sunday to my loving people of Fontem, and happy Sunday to the fun of Fontem. And we're talking about religion as and its economic impact to nation building or economic growth of Cameroon. And we look forward to dissect the topic and bring there's so much confusion that's out there to clear the air so that some people can really understand the impact of this topic, as it is a kind of thriving topic in society today. Thank you. Also in the studio, we are joined by Dr. Michael Dimancho. He is the co-founder of the New Era Youth for Africa, a non-governmental organization in Africa that is striving in order to empower the youth and empower youth across the continent to make them understand that they must go back to their roots and promote the values that are not repugnant to natural justice, but values that are able to take the continent to a different level with the respect of the elderly and also the promotion of one culture. He is also an elite from Noni. Also, happy Sunday to you.
Unfortunately, happy Sunday, Javis. Unfortunately, you are not able to say Good afternoon.
I'm telling you, I've been trying to.
It's a problem. They show some kind of discrimination.
No, you know, we will arrange it. We will arrange it.
Yeah, that's right. And I must remind you too that you forgot to make mention of the fact that I am the writer of the popular.
A publisher.
Yes. A popular book titled African Culture Made Barren by the Early Missionaries. Which of course touches,
that's the topic, eh?
Which touches on
what you produce.
Exactly. This touches on our discussion this afternoon. Greetings to all the people of Noni in general and Call in particular. Call in particular because today they are receiving, they are in a Thanksgiving Mass of over 4 priests that were ordained this last week in the ecclesiastical province of Bamenda, and all have converged on Call at the St. Patrick's Parish in Call Noni to have a Thanksgiving Mass. This is historic because Call has never had 4 priests at the Blue, and this year God bless them, and we hope that the Christian religion is going to strive from bounds. And just to say that sometimes we confuse between talking about religion and Christianity, because many people think that religion is different and Christianity is different. There's what we call the Christian religion and the African traditional religion. So all of them are religions, and now it depends on the approaches of the two, you know. When we will start the discussion, I think that we will be able to after throw more light on exactly what is happening, you know. There is one that has a God as a noun, and there's another one that has God as a verb. Yes, so we are going to be able to look at this, and just to let people know, having God as a noun means that, you know, there is God who is unchanging. That's what Christian religion holds, that there is God who is unchanging. But the African traditional religion holds God as a verb, meaning that what? They refer to God as things change. As seasons pass, as things happen, they refer to God as a changing God, who is the same God, but changing according to the happenings of the environment. So if rain falls today, they will thank the God of the rain. Means God is referred to as the God of the rain. Yeah. If sun shines, they thank the God of the sun. It doesn't mean it's a different God, but it's just that is that God that is changing according to the circumstances.
Time and season.
And that's why where the white man and the Christian didn't understand us. I think that we have to clarify that today.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, we are joined in Germany by Nana. Nana, who is a member of the Reform Party. Nana, happy Sunday.
That's a good idea. That's right.
Okay.
Yes, Tata, I can get you.
Yeah, happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday, Tata.
Yeah, I'll begin the program with you. How has religion contributed in Cameroon's economic growth? Your video is switched off. Maybe I'll come back to you. I'll begin with you, Dr. Dimancho, before coming to Dr. Nick, who is also someone who is very pragmatic, because our doctor will look at this topic more from a business perspective, and because doctor always look at people to create value and wealth. And when you watch his last program, which is Making Wave, talk about why A students work for B students, I'm sure that he has a lot also to do as far as this topic is concerned, because we spend all of our time either praying, worshiping, and not doing something effective. How has religion, Dr. Michael Dimancho, you wrote the book African Culture Made Barren, now by the Western religion also. Now, how has religion helped in contributing to the socio-economic development of our nation, Cameroon?
Well, talking about religion, I still want us to be in context, and let's put in perspective. How has Christianity, the Christian religion, to be precise, because if we ask that Christian religion, means that you're asking on both sides. Yes, African traditional religion.
Both.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And the Muslims?
And
yes,
that's right.
All.
Because it falls under the same organization. So I think religion, I talk about religion as a whole.
Yes.
But you know, each culture has its own values. And prior to the advent of the Christian religion, the Africans, they believed that their own religion was the best, and that they had its values. And nobody complained. It's as much as there was nothing to compare with it. I mean, it added them values, and nobody could say that this one was bad or that one was bad. It's when the Christian religion came and that we began to be able to weigh things, and that they started saying, okay, you know, this one is bad, worshiping of this is bad, adoring this is bad, and that one, before people started criticizing. And to say the least, you know, the Christian religion came from the level of authority, and regarded the African traditional religion at the level of solidarity. Meaning that what? They didn't come to treat or to interact at a particular level playing ground. They came from the point of view of a master coming to civilize a servant. And that is why when you read Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, he will refer to Africa, which was the Belgian Congo, as the dark continent. That is what we call about Heart of Darkness. He referred to the Belgian Congo, which is a replica, which is a microcosm. The Belgian Congo is a microcosm of the whole of Africa. He referred to Africa as the dark continent. Dark continent means that what? There was actually nothing that was good about Africa. That Africa was a territory made of mangroves, mosquitoes, witches, and wizards. That is the way they described Africa, in a very, very derogatory way, because they were describing from their own standpoint of view, from their own civilization. But then we forgot to know that civilization grows. Every civilization grows, because Europe was once, you remember the dark ages in Europe in terms of civilization. There was that the age of the dark age in Europe. And you realize that immediately after the dark ages, what made Europe to come out of the dark ages was the issues of paintings, the issues of tradition, that they came back to that respect of what Europe was supposed to be. But then to come and actually dub Africa to be a dark continent because it lacks some religious values, it is wrong. But we should understand one thing. Europe is like, the Christian religion is like they copied from the African traditional religion. I want to take the first example. When you look at the cross, what they call the cross today is taken from what they call the ankh. You know, the African traditional religion had what they call the ankh. The ankh is somewhere around with, the stretched hand and then on a stick. They call the ankh. And that is where the European, the issue of Jesus, the conception of Jesus on the cross came from. And we know of a popular African who is a theologian, Mapuka, Joshua Mapuka, who has described that cross to have been that Europe actually took that example because it wanted to show us that Africans were born slaves, and that cross, Jesus on the cross, was Africa nailed on the cross, and the two thieves beside them were Europe and China that crucified Jesus on the cross. So there are all of the interpretation about that. Now the first thing that they came to do with Africa was they changed the African name. Many people do not know the name Africa is not Africa's name. Africa originally had the name of Akebulan. Akebulan means the mother of humanity. Meaning that what? Africa is built from the perspective of humanity. That is the thing. And therefore, if anything, Africa being from the level of humanity, it means that the African traditional religion could not go contrary, could not do things that are contrary to humanity, regeneration, progress, and all of those. So you find that what we are having today as an adulteration of the African traditional religion is something that was well framed by the Europeans. And now, it is not actually surprising that the very time that we had what we call colonization, or the very time that the Christian missionaries embarked on the journey to Africa, was the very time the colonization started. So you start to see now the correlation between the two. Meaning that what? The Europeans came and typified African traditional religion as evil because it's just like calling a dog a bad name in order to hang it. That was that they wanted to blackmail the African traditional religion in order to introduce what they had. Typically, we have heard people make statement that when they arrived Africa, they had the Bible, and the Africans, they had their land. They taught the Africans how to pray while closing their eyes. And when the African opened their eyes, now they had the Bible and the Europeans had the land. So you knew that they had an intention of coming to Africa because they were not interested in preaching the Bible. Let me ask the African, do you think that what is happening in the world today, that if the Europeans actually knew that the Bible could save Africans, they would have brought it to Africa? No way. If the Europeans, Christian religion, knew that the Bible takes people to heaven, they wouldn't have brought it to Africa. Look at what is happening in the world today. Economic development, industrial development, and all of that. Data. They refuse Africa. They know that they don't want Africa to even have a common meal a day. So it is only heaven they want Africans to go to. And that's why they were so interested. They flock into Africa to preach the Bible so that they can go to heaven, that eternal lasting place. And we are beginning to question a lot of things now, because you made it in your opening introduction. And you said, when they came, the very Bible they came reading, in that very Bible was inscribed the fact that homosexuality was bad. And the marriage between one sex is bad. It is an abortion. And we still read it inside that very Bible.
And they told us the Bible cannot change.
It cannot change. And it has not changed indeed. But how come that today, they are the very people now who come to tell us that, no, just allow human beings to live their life as much as they are happy. You can get married to a man, you can get married, a woman can get married to a woman, in as long as they are happy. Intruding into their thing, it means as if they are going against the human rights. And now, it is now a condition for them to even come and trade with Africa and give aid to Africa.
Because Uganda has been sanctioned.
Exactly.
Uganda has been sanctioned.
And many are coming in that light.
Yes, so, Ghana also, MPs have been sanctioned for voting in favor of anti-duty law.
Now you see where I'm coming from, the issue of Africa's name, Akebulan, where is the mother of humanity. Because you cannot pretend to love humanity, you cannot pretend to love growth, you cannot pretend to love regeneration, and then at the same time killing it. Meaning that the issue of one-sex marriage is killing humanity, is killing the plan of God. Because the plan of God
creation.
In that very Bible is talking about in Genesis, go out and multiply. It is about procreation.
Okay. Oh, coming back to you, Dr. Ningwanya, you are more of a business person.
Yes.
Now you have listened to what he had talked about, the fact that the African religion was based on humanity.
Yes.
And that aimed to give humanity the identity, and talked about the fact that if you look at the Western nations who brought this Christianity, they are far advanced. Those of us who have embraced it, where are we, Doctor? How has now this same religion helped us? How are we abusing it?
No, we have a lot of problems that we have not understood, and then we are looking for scapegoats. Those scapegoats also have a contribution, but the scapegoats do not answer all our questions. That's why I keep saying that the mindset of Africans and Cameroonians have got to change, because there are a couple of things that we are doing which are fundamentally wrong. And when we don't understand them, then we start chasing the wrong horse and blaming the wrong person, even though the blame is shared. But we tend to think that if today we shut down all churches and mosques and so on and say nobody should go to church, nobody should pray to God, Africa will develop. It will not develop, because there's something that is still fundamentally wrong with the way we think. Now, that said, we started off by saying that actually, when we are saying religion, we can say anything, but what is most important is the love of God. And while you and Dr. Ndimancho were talking, I remember, the way we started the Apostle Creed. I believe in God the Father, the Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. Entre. That's God. The other ones is addition. It says creator of heaven and earth. So when you define God, it's about the creator of heaven and earth. So if you are talking about an African God, or whichever God, or the white man God, the green God, is he the creator of heaven and earth? It's over. Now, that said, we ask the question again, why did God create us? These arguments are going on because sometimes there is a foundation. When you leave the foundation and then you start wandering off the road, then you will start getting things and misinterpreting them. And when you are lost, come back to the original script, the foundation. So, why did God create us, you and me? Number one, God created me to love him. I don't know about you, but that's what he created me for. God created me to love him. God created me to worship him and praise him. And God created me to love my neighbor. And of course, I cannot love my neighbor if I don't love myself. Then beyond the love for which God created us, God created us to dominate and work that Garden of Eden. That Garden of Eden stands for all our work and what have you. Is the Garden of Eden, that domination of and working the Garden of Eden stands for all our work. And then God created us to multiply. So if we look at that very strictly and find out what Africans have been doing, Africans have been pretending to love and praise God, but they have forgotten the work part. That's the problem. They have forgotten to work the Garden of Eden. God did not say that when you praise and worship Him, the Garden of Eden will work itself. That's where we are making the mistake. God never said that. It's written nowhere in the Bible. And then if you go to check, the Bible very well, look at a few examples. I'm not a pastor or a priest, but when they preach, I listen. You see, when Cain had a problem with Abel, I think God cursed Cain that you have to till the earth, right?
Yes.
Before you eat. And then, remember, as the Israelites were going through the desert, God gave them manna and quails and water from the rock and all those things. But as soon as they entered Canaan, something happened. The manna finished, and they had to till the earth. Okay, you have to work, otherwise you will not eat. So if you are going to try to eat without working, you are a thief. Now, then the other thing is, remember Paul? Paul made tents. So even though he was preaching, he was making the tents. He was not doing miracles. Paul was not doing miracles for money to eat. No. He was preaching, doing the miracles to help the people, but he was making the tents to live. And then he was supported, by the Christians to live. But he didn't blackmail. He didn't
just stay on the
miracles. That's blindfolding people and getting money. No. Paul did not do that. And I think you remember also Joseph in Egypt. No. Joseph, the one in Egypt. Yes. Joseph in Egypt, when he prepared for the famine, what did he do? It was about work. It's about work. You see, so everything focuses around work, and when you leave out work from that formula, then you get lost completely.
In the Bible, it says, "Work for yourself to be approved."
Yes, so you cannot say that you are a man or a woman and there is no work element in you. When there is no work element in you, you are a scammer. So you pray, have as many novenas. I think how many? We always have 9-day novenas.
Yes.
Now I'm prescribing 30
days novena.
No, 30 or half a year novena. Half a year novena. Go and take your mattress. Go and sleep at the altar, and be looking at the Blessed Holy Communion for all that time. After half a year, you will still be broke. you understand? So let us be very careful, because God Himself says you should go and work, and we are refusing the work because the work is hard. You think that you can just go and pray, then somebody's purse will be missing with money, and then you pick it and it becomes your own.
Miracle money, eh?
Miracle money doesn't exist. It's a lie. There is nothing like miracle money. So until we get this out of people, so you see, even though we've been blaming these pastors and so on, the problem is that they have shifted the mindset of the people. So they are running after a mirage. They are running after something that does not exist. But if we now say that many of these apostles and so on, they are liars, they will say we are the ones who are at fault.
Antichrist.
Yes, we are Antichrist. But we are bringing everybody back to the roots that God Himself asked that we should work. So if you do whatever and you are not working, you are a thief, you are a scammer. Miracle monies and miracle things, double miracles. You cannot have a double miracle if you are not working. And besides, you are going to look for a double miracle. But God does those miracles in our lives every day. We are all farmers here. You take 1 grain of corn and go and plant it. How many grains of corn do you have after 3 months? 100.
Yes.
From that 1 grain.
Yes.
Is that not a miracle?
It's a miracle.
What a miracle do you want again?
You sleep and get up.
You will sleep and get up the next day. When you are sleeping, are you aware that you are even alive? So this thing that we are running after is poor education. Before I give you back the microphone, then let's listen to what His Eminent Christian Cardinal told me and taught me about success. I keep saying it, and we all have to learn it. If you want to succeed in life, there are 6 things that you must do. You don't skip any. If you skip any, you will not walk. Listen carefully. I memorize them. 1, you must like work. 2, you must like work that is well done. So it's not just about work. It must be work that is well done. Work that is well done is efficient. It's perfect. It's effective. And when it comes to work, Cameroon doesn't work. We are very lazy, everybody. Number 3, you must have intellectual honesty. That one stands for truth. You must live with the truth, talk the truth, so that you are trusted, so that things happen. When you live in truth, things will happen for you. It's because if your life is not going well, it's because you tell a lot of lies. We lie. It's not good. And number did I say? Oh, number 4, you must have self.
That's number 5.
Oh, no.
That's number 5. You talk about like work.
Yes.
Like work.
That is well
that
done.
Is well done. Have
intellectual honesty. Which is truth.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the 4th is self-discipline. Self-discipline is that you know what is right to be done. Do it whether someone is watching you or not. That's your character. That's what defines your character. No eye servantship. If you are going to be working, whether you are doing a private or working for somebody, and you want somebody to be looking over your shoulder before you do it, you will fail. If you are a cheat, you will fail. It doesn't matter whether you stole and somebody saw you or not, you will still fail. Money that you stole that is not your own, that you work would amount to nothing. That's why scammers don't. If you see scammers, show me a scammer that has succeeded. They always collapse at the end of the day. Show me someone who has won money at the national lottery and has succeeded. They go nowhere. So free money that you never worked for would always take you down the drain. So if you go and steal, like many of these people stealing money from budget, they have nothing to show. Now, that was the 5th is pray. Pray to your God. So you see how prayer, so we had the work, the discipline, and the prayer. Are you seeing how it's coming together? And that pray to God. When you pray to God, you know, God doesn't really need your prayers. But when you are praying to God, God appreciates you as, see my son. And see my son, see my daughter. That's what the prayer actually does more for you than for God. And when you pray like that, you come under the limelight of God, and He gives you the wisdom, and He shows you where the ram is that you can sacrifice. He shows you where the resources are. He shows you where the opportunities are. He opens your mind and guides you so that you are not in the dark. So when you pray and you are on your knees, you are actually helping by yourself. So, but when we are saying prayer, don't go to God with a list of things. God, give me this, give me this, give me this. No, that's not prayer. Pray according to the Lord's Prayer. Then the 6th thing is respect Mother Earth. That is the environment. If you don't respect the environment, you kill yourself, because the environment is that branch that you are sitting on. You know, there's this picture on WhatsApp or somewhere. Somebody sitting on a branch and cutting the branch with a saw. Yes. So when you don't respect Mother Earth, you are killing yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nick, before coming to Nick, Nana, are you there? Are you following us? The connection seemingly out. Nana, are you with us? We're coming back to you. Let me take a message before I come to you. Anu, greetings, dear panelists. Religion through denominations like Catholic, Presbyterian, Baptist have developed our country through building of infrastructures like schools, hospitals, and handicap centers to help Cameroonians. Dixon Niba writing from Wututu. Walimu says, good morning, Javis. I prefer to answer your question from the social standpoint. The introduction of Christianity has had a good influence upon society. Today, lives and properties are more secured under the Christian religion than under the African traditional religion, whose law of the jungle have supplanted by teachings of love for one's neighbor as well as forgiveness. I don't know whether Dr. Dimancho will agree with that. I'll be coming back to you. Nick, how has religion helped in developing Cameroon? Like Dr. Nick was saying, he has laid out 6 issues, which I think that if we look at it critically. Nana, are you with us?
Happy Sunday, Mr. Tah.
Let me get you briefly before coming to Nick. How has religion helped to develop Cameroon?
Come again, please.
How has religion helped to develop Cameroon? I don't know. I'll be coming back to Nick. How has religion helped to develop Cameroon? Because Dr. Nick has laid down 6 issues. 1, like work. If honestly, I don't know whether Cameroonians like work. 2, like work that's well done. That's even the most difficult thing that you hardly see in Cameroon. Some will tell, I don't try. The next one is, Dr. Nick talked about intellectual honesty,
or truth.
which is truth. Talk about self-discipline. Now, the one which we are good at is pray to your God.
Yeah, just pray.
Above all, respect your environment. Where are we on this scale?
Yeah, but just before I say what I want to say, if what Dr. Nick has mentioned, if there's no work, like there will be nothing for you to like, and if there's no work for you to do, you end up being dishonest in what you want to do and eat. And if you don't even have something to do, you just go to prayers, and which is what many of Africans find themselves. The issue of the advent of new religions, because these are not even these are advents of new religions are coming up, like the Pentecostal movement. We cannot we can really segment religion, Christian religion, into two parts. The mainstream religion, we have seen what they have done over the years. They have contributed to economic development, social development, building of schools, hospitals, building of centers, vocational training centers. All of this, we have statistics, we have their infrastructure that we can prove that these things are there. They have contributed to economic development. We cannot just downplay the impact of religion in every economy, like in most African economy. Europe, if you go look at it critically and study the history of Europe, Europe was built on Christian religion. Even though today they are deviating from Christian religion, we cannot say that the religion is like a bad thing that they brought to. Another point of correction is that the colonialists did not bring religion to us, or did not bring Christianity to us. If you study the history
I said we were told.
Yeah, that's what we're
So the question now is, did the history lesson that we studied, did they lie to us?
Yeah, I cannot say that. Yeah, maybe they lied to us on an extent, or it was incomplete.
I read it that in the history, one of the reasons why Europeans come for Africa is to spread religion.
You have to know that most of our history books were still written by the colonialists, and they did not write our history to please us. They wrote our history from their own point of view to glorify themselves. So that's what we Africans. If you notice that there was some years back in Cameroon, they were forming another commission to write the history.
They formed it, not they were forming.
So if we bring to mind that means that the history of Cameroon is faulty. If it is not faulty, why is it that they are forming another commission to write the history of Cameroon? So, as I was saying, the colonialists did not bring religion to Christianity to Africa. Christianity was here way back, right from the 1st century. If you study, at least I happen to have studied some theology, Christian theology, and I know most of these things. And if you go do further research, you'll see that Christianity was in Africa, especially in the north of Africa, right from the 1st century after Christ. Because the north of Africa was a province of the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire was one of the empires where Christianity was spread. So we cannot say that the colonialists actually brought religion. Maybe they manipulated religion at that time during the colonial era to drive their agenda. But it's not like they brought Christianity to Africa. The issue to me, of the advent of this new Pentecostal movement and breeding a set of lazy Africans who don't want to work, who just want to believe in miracle, is also because of the failed governance in most of our African states. Most of our African states, they actually enjoy this new movement because it gives them less trouble. It gives them the attitude, in as much as you can deviate the attention of the citizens, not to look upon the government, but to look upon a God who will provide miracle money for them, miracle solutions, miracle healings for them. The government will not bother to create good schools, to build good hospitals that can heal people. If you look at it critically, the miracles from doctors, Dr. Kambemi, who is a surgeon, miracles provided by doctors is 90% more than the miracles professed in these churches. The healings that medical doctors have brought to humanity is 90% more than the miracles that are preached in most of these centers. Because most of the time, we cannot even verify most of these miracle healings they profess. So the issue or the bone of contention here is bad governance. I once went to Nigeria and you look at the level of churches that are there. sometimes they will shout an hallelujah in a different church. You answer your church thinking that it is that the hallelujah of your pastor. And if I look at it critically, I just saw that it is just a
So you are saying that hallelujah is being shouted up, down here, you think that it's your pastor?
It is your hallelujah from your pastor. Meanwhile, it is from a neighboring church. Just the level of frustration that most of these nations are going through because of bad leadership.
Now let me get in there. This bad leadership, who are those promoting this bad leadership? Because the leadership is a reflection of the followership.
Not
Is it
actually.
No, because where are the leaders coming from? From the society.
We're
And
not
because we have followership that praise thieves.
We're not refusing. Maybe we're not like saying that most of those, you remember, most of those in African leadership they were not actually elected by their people. Most of them impose themselves. We actually saw.
And what did the people do when they imposed themselves?
We actually saw elections like in Nigeria. We cannot say that these people elected those leaders.
The question is, what did the people do after these people imposed themselves? Because like in 1992, Fungi was a person that stopped people from going to the street. In Nigeria, Peter Obi was a person that also stopped people from going to the street.
Yeah,
but we have seen how that has worked in other countries, where people impose themselves, the people take it also upon themselves to challenge it. So don't just blame leadership to say no, it's leadership. The question is, what are the people on the field doing? Are you telling us that the minority is greater than the majority?
Obviously, but it depends on the system you find yourself.
Is it not because of religion that made these people to just allow the people to impose themselves? Say let's just pray to a God.
No, it's not because of religion. It is a well-set agenda that the government in place have put not to do their work that they were elected to even do. And the people maybe have been taken hostage of the kind of systems they find themselves in.
By who?
And sometimes they can only find solace in the kind of God they pray. And they just hope and then maybe think that one day there will be a miracle that will come. And maybe, if you look at, maybe go to most of these churches and hear the kind of prayer they pray that most of these leaders should die. And meanwhile, that is not a
and now are you not coming to confirm what we have said, that they don't like to do what is supposed to? Because even the Bible says the kingdom of God suffer violence, and violence taketh it by force.
No, you cannot overblame the people. The people know what to do, but sometimes they are just afraid. For example, defending their electoral victory. Sometimes if you tell them to go to the street to defend their electoral victory, most of them will not want to go. Because
it's not because of their religion.
They are afraid of their lives sometimes.
And didn't their religion tell them that they'll go to heaven if they die?
No, if you look at most of these people who are going to most of this new breed religion, they're not going there to worship God. Most of them are not even Christian. They're after miracles.
Okay.
They're not like just going there to worship God as per se.
Dr. Dimancho, let me come back to you. Dr. Nick made mention of some key aspects there, which Dr. Nick also talked about the fact that Africans are pretending to love God and that they forget to walk about the Garden of Eden. That in as much as God created us to love, to worship, to pray to Him, and also to take care of the Garden of Eden. And that we Africans have forgotten now to take care of this Garden of Eden. Dr. Nick, Dr. Dimancho, how do we go from here?
Of course, we need to be carried by the wind of the time, the changing time, our circumstances. Because, let me tell you, why is the world changing? The world is changing fast because of the aspirations of the youth, the zeal of the youth, the longings of the youth. That's why you find the changes from one application to another. The other time, like, some years back, we were talking about Yahoo Messenger. After we started talking about Facebook, WhatsApp, and all of those. Gmail. It is because of the aspirations of the youth, the longing desire to change the world. Now, coming back to Africa, don't we have a longing desire to change the world? We do. Why? Look at the number of youths who are dying in the ocean.
The Mediterranean.
In the Mediterranean. It is because the youths are longing for a change. The change of their situation. There is that, one time I was talking on a tip about the push and the pull factor. What is the push factor? The push factor is wars, crisis, instability in their home countries. And what is the pull factor? Acadian life, amenities, better life. I mean, you know, facilities that they have abroad. That is what is happening. Now, let me cite you back to 1908, when the time of the early missionaries to Africa. In 1908, there is the famous King Leopold II of Belgium, who has been understood to be the one who was rather sending missionaries to the Belgian Congo and not even the church. He was the one, as the emperor, as, of course, we are even talking about he as the emperor, who wrote the Bible, who coordinated the writing of the Bible. Was not a politician, was not, I mean, God, as they talk about, was Constantinople.
Yes, Constantinople.
Yeah, he was the one coordinated, he was not even a Christian. He was a political leader. And the Belgian king, Leopold II, was the one sending missionaries to the Congo. And there is this miserable picture of, you know, when missionaries arrived the Congo, one of the main objectives was to feed the industry back with wheat. You know, they needed wheat to send back to Belgium. And there is this gruesome picture whereby a Belgian child was being hung because the father did not provide the required amount of wheat. You know, each Christian had to provide amount of wheat. And that was the mission of the missionaries there, that they had to Christians to harvest as much wheat as possible to send. And if you did not have that required amount,
the family will be in trouble.
You'll be in trouble. This is the very thing that happened during the slavery and slave trade. During that period was the time that the missionaries were here. Now, my brother said, and it's very true, the Europeans did not bring Christianity to Africa. Because when you make reference to people like Simon of Cyrene and all of those are people who were there, even there before even the birth of Christ. And we are from where? From that side of North Africa.
Yeah, because we knew also of the Ethiopia Union.
It was not inhabited by the Arabs who see them.
That's right. I mean, black people. So, you know, what is happening is that we are even just calling religion. Because this concept of religion has come because the human beings were not able to control the things of the spirit. And where did the concept of religion come? It came because we started giving names. Because we wanted control of Christianity. Because you cannot control things of the spirit, you have to give them names that are human to control. And now you heard a thing about the Roman Catholic Church. The Catholics were even very, very courageous to now say Roman Catholic Church. And here in Cameroon, we are talking about Roman Catholic Church. You have the Presbyterian Church. You had the Pentecost. I mean, all of those churches, Baptists and all of those. That is a human appellation. This is not a human issue of religion, where they had to give these names in order to control. And that separation has started now from there. And Christians fighting among themselves. So you're asking, where do we go from here? We should rather close down these churches and put on warehouses. This is the first example where we should go. Rather than closing churches and rather than closing down warehouses and put on churches, we should revolutionize and put down these churches. And maybe you'll consult Dr. Nick and we tell them what businesses to put. Because it's not just any business you should put. I mean, you should be strategized. I know that this business is good for you, this business is good for you, this business is good for you.
Yeah.
You can make more beer. That's the thing.
I'm drinking more beer. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, drinking more beer. Yes. If the only business is about beer,
and eat more roast fish.
I mean, I think we should rather put more conjectures in those buildings than beer. So I think
only good governance can close down.
That's the thing. It's why. You know why they cannot close the churches? Because the churches help us cage the people, and they do not eradicate any longer. Yeah. All the governments in Africa, they like churches. Because in church, that's it. You go to church, you come out, even during elections, like you don't want to go, you don't want to vote. In Europe and America, issues of elections and voting are preached in church. But come and talk about elections and voting in Africa. They will tell you, go without your thing. We are here to pray our God. That is the only continent where people are showing it. God will come. He will be there forever. This is a mentality we have. You know, the kingdom of God taken by power. Violence. That is the thing. And St. Paul has already said it. Show me your faith, and I by my good work will show you my faith. That is the thing. People do not know that working hard is more than praying. Working is even praying 2 times. Like people say singing is praying 2 times. Working is even praying 4 times. So where do we go from here? Is that we should retell the minds of the youth
to
know that crusades will not take you away from your problems. Because, let me tell you, and I have not made an analysis, but I want to say worldly, that 90% of those who flock in crusade places are people who are hungry and they are looking for something to eat, and the thing that they are looking for to eat may come miraculously because they don't want to work for it. Quote me anyway. That is what is happening. That's why people go to crusade, because they know that the man of God will spot him. And many who are not spotted during those crusades come back very angry. They say the man of God did not even see me. The man of God, and that's why you find that. Have you ever gone there? Please go there. They frog in front of the church. See, that is why when the crusade is starting at 9 o'clock, at 4 p.m. they are already there, because they want to stay behind, in front, so that the man of God should spot you the first.
And solve your problem.
You'll be the first problem to be solved. And immediately the man of God doesn't spot you because he's limited too. The man of God sees inside your pocket. He goes to those who have money. And immediately you are not spotted. This is where the problem begins. You come back even a worse person as well, because you are going to sow seeds.
And you come back bitter. That
is right. Why don't you take the money you want to sow seeds and start a small business? It's not a bad business. You're going to start a bad business. You are going to take small money you have and start a business rather than go to give the man of God. Remember that in Buya, where we had about 20,000 people flogging, for example. And each person just gives 1,000 francs in the morning service. Just 1,000. How much is that? In the evening service, you give 20,000 people just 1,000 francs. The man of God goes back laughing.
Yeah, because
the crusade.
There are two Le Mans. They carry money back in Ghana must go.
Can you imagine?
In Ghana must go.
So,
or the offering.
We should not put the church to be a fertile ground. Let us look for fertile grounds to cultivate wheat, to cultivate corn, to cultivate cocoyams, to cultivate cocoa. That is the fertile ground. The fertile ground should not be the church premises, should not be a crusade ground.
Okay, Dr. Ningwanyam, isn't it time now for church to change its strategy? Churches to now invest heavily in agriculture.
Yeah.
Because as we are looking, they have more upgraded into social services, which is true. We have knowledge, we appreciate. But now, isn't it time now for churches now to start expanding in such a way that they become now center for wealth creation? For example, open plantations, wheat plantation, banana plantation, with the kind of money they have, which now can boost the economy rather than just opening the schools. And now hospitals, we need the hospitals, we need schools. But now, what becomes of the job?
I think what you are saying makes a lot of sense. And, all the time we're talking about religion, we're not mentioning the Muslim religion. I mean, it goes along with what we've been saying. I think it's time for the government has a lot to correct. The government has to also first start by correcting itself. Okay, when Nick and Dimancho are talking, I mean, this thing about bad governance is when you get it right and know what is working and what is not working, why you are not efficient. If you cannot correct yourself, you cannot correct others. So the government has to start by correcting itself and its strategies and what have you. Once you do that, then it becomes very clear that we need to correct what is happening in all the churches, the messages that are being preached in churches, and we need to monitor what is happening in churches. What are the priests telling the people? Not the priests, the pastors, and what are you telling the people? And begin to ban this miracle
money,
this miracle thing. Either you are preaching the love of God and work, but if you say miracle and so on, your church is closed. That's over. Yeah. So until we do that, and then churches,
and the kind of people who are really preaching that,
and then churches should also begin to show proof of work. Besides the preaching. For instance, if you you have a church, what other thing are you doing to help your Christians? Where are your schools? Where are your hospitals? Where are your farms? Show us something that you are doing that would empower the people. If it's just talk, then you are a scammer. Until we begin to do these kind of things, then so that people people begin to realize that you pray for God to give you the wisdom to sow when you are talking of sowing the seed, to sow the corn in the ground, in the earth, so that it will grow. Seed should not be limited to giving money to a pastor. So we need to watch over this very carefully, because something is really gone wrong and it must be corrected. Like you see, we've been saying, for 60 years, we didn't even know that the school system was wrong. But you see, the president has already corrected the university system, because we are all blinded. And so as much as the universities have all got to create industries, churches also have to create industries. When you begin to create an industry, it's a strong signal.
Yeah.
It's a strong signal of work, and those that cannot do it are shut down. If you only want miracle money to go and survive, then you are not fit to live. I mean, we have to be firm and strict about that. Once we start doing that, all this noise will go away.
Dr. Nick again, how do we understand the fact that, for example, if you call for a seminar here,
Yes.
that we should come and learn wealth creation,
Yeah.
you may have just about 30 people.
Yes.
Free seminar.
Yes.
But if you call for a crusade,
Yes.
that a man of God is coming from Nigeria, and you put his picture, the place will be full. How do we reconcile
Yeah,
this?
the disease comes from very far. The disease is not very much about the church. And this business seminar you're talking about, it comes from that our school system that you have been talking about. Because in school system, people have been studying these subjects, and entrepreneurship and how you create wealth and so on. This is something that has to be started in nursery school. Building those things. These are things that have to be started in secondary school, in nursery school. You don't start, and then here you are dealing with adults who are already stiff with stiff backs and so on, and they are cut in jackets. Now you don't even need to call when we're talking about a crusade or something. Just see, I mean, on our WhatsApp groups, Facebook, social media, when you are talking about something that has to do with work, very
few comments, very few reactions.
Yes, talk about going cassava. People don't, you understand? But if it's some theater or social, somebody doing music or like and share. Madonna went up, this one went down. So are you saying we are distracted by showbiz? It is, when we are talking about it's showbiz, and then people, when we talk business or work, people are only thinking of buying some Chinese stuff and selling. It's limited to that.
Yeah, because what you have said, I can just confirm. Whenever I post my editorial online,
yes,
I receive about 3 likes, 4.
Yes.
But when I posted a video of me dancing a particular song,
yes,
I have about 100 likes.
You see, so you see, it has nothing. So you can see when you are saying that when there is a seminar or a crusade. The crusade and that showbiz are going together. It's part of showbiz. You understand? But something that takes muscle, something that takes reasoning, something that takes sacrifice, people don't want it. Something that allows you to sit down and meditate and use your brain, people don't want that, because we have not been brought up like that. It's very sad.
Good afternoon to you guys. Javis, Western religion has created a negative impact on our economic growth. We no longer work but wait for miracles and prophecies to fall from heaven like manna. Africa will grow if we go back to our roots and identity. Wika Edwin writing from Fumbot. This other one, right, it says, good afternoon to you all in the studio. Until we defeat fear in Cameroon, there's not going to be any change. The leaders are now passing through church leaders to hold the people captive. How do you expect a change when men in long cassock talk of peace without mentioning justice, without saying truth and standing by it? What religion do we practice? If we don't defeat fear, there's not going to be any change in Cameroon. This is coming from Brandon, and this all right. It says, good afternoon to you all in the studio. I'm following the program from Tombe. The leaders comes from the society and has followers, but every society has citizens who constitute 5% of the total population. Tribalism will make up 25% of the population, and idiots who make tribesmen who make up 25%, idiots who make up 70% of the population. I fear idiots because they can democratically put another idiot as a leader, and the leader will eventually default the point mentioned by Dr. Nick and many others. This is Zingwa writing from Tombe, and this other one, right, he says, good afternoon to you in the studio, especially Javis, doctor for positive impact of nation building. One thing that is clear is that there is God who is creator of the universe, creator of heaven and earth. Why the white man spending time working Africans are spending, why am I spending time working Africans are spending time praying in churches, religion has negatively impacted the growth of our community by result. Let us take on this interview, come back for reactions. That's one. If you are ready, the interview that Charles Kebak spoke with some men of God.
The church is doing its utmost best to bring up morals within the society, and those who have morals, they contribute in the functioning of their lives within the level of the society they are living. The church have also done a lot in the aspect of health, especially my church. Health, giving employment, created hospitals, created schools in which Cameroonians are employed and they are working and they are living comfortably. You know, the government is a kind of, it's an institution that is different because the government is different in its own aspects of life, because the government itself have created sources of employment. They have also created schools, have created hospitals, and they have created the courts and everything that is also a source of employment to Cameroonians. But notwithstanding, the government have not yet lived up to expectation. And I will tell you frankly that what I expected of this government is not yet delivered.
As church, we are the first people to start with school and to see also to implement agricultural aspect, to teach young people farming, young girls how to do and so on. So that is what the church did to improve the standard of living of Cameroon.
Thank you very much. The last excerpt there from the man of God was talking about the fact that churches should invest in teaching people in agriculture, teaching people farming, because we are looking at the change in dynamic. In as much as the leadership may not be the best, but I don't think that going to farm needs leadership, Nick.
Yeah, but I think most churches are doing that already. I remember when Bishop Nkia was in Manfe, you actually championed this aspect of the church owning farms. And many other churches that are into agriculture.
Very few.
Like,
no, when you say many.
It may be silent.
The issues.
If you do your
okay,
family,
Nick, I have done my findings.
Yes.
What you are saying about Bishop Nkia is true.
Yeah.
But the question is, how many of these churches actually sell their product? Because normally when a church produce, you see in the market. If not, even in the church, you bring it like, let's say the Bonamusadi can come and create a trade fair that, okay, this is a product from our church, from our farm. We are exhibiting it for Christians to buy at a certain price. How many have we seen that?
Yeah, you know, like Dr. Nee said, one of our greatest problem in Cameroon is mindset, which is still, no matter what the kind of best solution you bring, if we don't go to that radical mindset change, we're going nowhere. And that's what is killing us. Most people in Cameroon, most of the churches, they still believe that agriculture is meant for some old mamas in the village which are supposed to go and do all of this.
And that's why St. Louis is coming to give a different perspective to that.
Yeah. So agriculture is supposed to be tackled from every perspective, from the side of the government, the church, the civil society.
And the schools.
And yes, what stops our school system from creating a subject called agriculture from one student, or maybe say primary school, not just say from one. They should love agriculture from primary school. In our days in primary school, we used to have what we call rural science.
Yeah.
And
we had royal and domestic science.
Domestic science. Most of these things don't exist.
The girls will go to domestic science, the boy will go to royal science.
Yeah. And in our primary school day, we used to have school gardens. Most of these things don't exist again.
Homework was based on production, not money.
Yeah. So these days, students just buy homework, handwork, and come and present, or some maybe just come and give money. But in our days, where you don't produce something and give, they will trash you. And it had to be in your mind that you, as you are growing up, and you have to be useful, not just academically, but otherwise. And these days, all of these things have disappeared, and we are calling by on the attention of the government to revisit our school system. Changing the curriculum doesn't mean that you should just change everything at once. You do it progressively. And start from the primary school, or look at yourself and say, in Cameroonians, what kind of Cameroonians do I want to produce in the next 20 years? You make a 20 years educational plan and say, in the next 20 years, I want to I want that my citizens should be like in this, technologically upward, and that's what the Chinese do. Oh, that's what most of these developed countries do. They set a development plan, and they say they want that in 20 years come. I want my citizens to be able to produce this kind of things, and they tell all the educational system towards that. But in our own way, we are too dogmatic about our wrong educational system. That even most of the promoters, if you see like Dr. Nigu is an educational promoter, if he's maybe try to bring some kind of changes, they will instead fight him. They'll say no, he's changing the status quo, which is something very bad. And then that's what at the end of the day we see bring back everything to governance. Governance is the key, and governance is principle. In Cameroon, we're kind of people who don't like principles. And principles are things that are universal.
Let me come in there. You blame governance, Dr. Nick. We all have witnessed what happened in the Democratic Republic of Congo when Kabila wanted to extend his mandate. We saw how the church stood up and said no. We saw in Nigeria when bishops rose up again. We saw in South Africa where it was the church that came in and said no to apartheid. When we say we keep blaming governance, isn't the church also failing in that responsibility?
Everybody is failing. We are not saying that we are blaming already. Everybody is failing right up to the city, the common man on the street. Nobody is playing their own role. We cannot say, but we are saying that, for example, in a football match, everybody cannot be a referee.
Because who checks the governance? Is it not the civil society?
In a football match, you have a referee. The government is like a referee. And if your referee becomes a player, and what becomes of that kind of football match?
Dr. Dimancho, I seemingly not understand what he's saying there. I probably somehow disagree because you are an expert in this field. The church has stopped what is happening in South Africa through Desmond Tutu. The church stopped Kabila. The church in other countries have played significant role. Now, when we keep blaming that governance is bad, who should now be able to change this governance?
Remember that geopolitics is really different in different areas. And talking about the church has a romance. Who is the church? We. The members of the church.
Yeah, because we are the church.
Yes. The members of the church have a different romance with the government in different countries in different ways. When you come to the situation in Cameroon, where I actually, and I've said in many occasions, that the church leaders in Cameroon hate their Christians because they are being bought over by the government in place. When the countries that you have cited, you will not see anybody. You have people like Desmond Tutu in South Africa.
Because in Cameroon, we had only Bishop, His Eminence, who stood in the heart of the Anglophone crisis.
Christian Cardinal Tumu was
unfortunately
who went so early. And you know that church leaders in Cameroon are too wanting, meaning that they are not even satisfied, or either there is something they are at a weaker position to talk, or they are afraid. You have somebody like Eminent that you quoted, somebody who was very courageous.
Yes, it's Eminent.
Who will not be bought by money.
Even Amber, he told Amber to their face.
Exactly. That is somebody that at his appointments, they will come and give him a very big Mercedes, and he said, "But what am I doing? I mean, he was someone who was not money-minded. He was not materialistic. That is the point. But you have a place in Cameroon, I'm talking the Catholic Church that I know, where every end of year, they are being passed envelope behind the table. Every bishop has an envelope. And you feel that you cannot openly criticize somebody who is actually doing you some little favor. I don't know what kind of favor is that. So that's the way I look at it. That in Cameroon, we have a different setting. Because all of these people, even those in government, I mean, majority of people in government are Christians. And to say that the government is corrupt means you are saying that the church is corrupt. So that is where we are.
And they sit in front rows.
Yeah, and they sit in front rows and they talk. I mean, you know, nothing seems.
And they give contributions. Financial contribution, launching.
That is right. You find a single person who sits and builds a church and offers to the church. a whole building of millions.
And they don't question
and they don't question the source of the money. Nothing is questioned.
The Holy Spirit, nice
miracle
the
Holy Spirit is doing miracles.
Miracle money.
And you see, and we even talked about the contribution of the church in actually empowering people. If you are in a position where you can have 20 million francs at the blue without any investment, do you worry doing anything? Look at what happened in church, where you organize a bazaar or you organize a Thanksgiving and you have millions when you do not invest a single franc. You have not invested a single franc in what you have. That is where people keep on. Now, where do we go from here? The issue is that we should be much more concentrated on what we want to be than on what we want to do. Because I realize that in Cameroon, we are much more concentrated on what we want to do and not what we want to be. Because your being will determine your doing. What am I saying? If tomorrow we feel that we should have good roots, that is what we want to be tomorrow, that we have good roots, or that we have a society that the social responsibility or the social coverage is at its maximum. Then we will work toward it, we will do the doing, and we are going to have it. But since even the church doesn't have any plan, I mean, there's somebody who said that when the church leaders need something, need money, they go to the Christians. But when the Christian needs something, the church leaders say they should go to God.
Go and pray.
Go and pray. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Papa, don't mind. Just pray.
Just pray. God will help pray. There's nothing else about God to do. Why is it that during that bazaar, why don't we pray to God to give us the money that we need? These are some of the things that, and when you start opening people's minds about some of these things, they'll say you're heretic. Like, I mean, you're committing heresy. Because people don't want to hear you talk about anything that concerns their church. So, and that's why most people now say religion is the opium of the poor. The opium, why? People just think that, okay, if there are certain things that are taboo that you don't have to talk about. Why shouldn't you talk about? These are things that you have to discuss. You have to discuss this thing until we begin to have that open-mindedness to discuss about this thing. Then why is it that you want to make a plan to build a church of, I mean, the church, your church down here was yes, also 3 billion. 3 billion. Before they started reducing and catching it down now to 900,000. How do you want to build a church of 3 billion? And when you have Christians who are barely living and making their life, barely good sending children to school, and nobody cares about that.
Someone to create an industry or invest in a farm.
And that's why I said we should close some of these things and open up a warehouse. And Johnny was talking about off license. I don't know why he got that concept from. I think that these are the we need to.
No, he was asking that. So should we close and open our off license? We have many off licenses.
Do you know why? Do you know why we have many off licenses? Because we know that when we drink our brains. Look at in Senegal, we don't have that in Senegal. That's why they use in Senegal.
I don't mind. Take one man. No
one man just drink.
Don't mind.
Like this,
tomorrow you want that, you go create your own.
That is what is happening in our country. So we are asking the church that why can't you build social places, even places like schools where you can build for the poor. But you realize that even the few schools, you are even saying that they're investing in schools and hospitals. The few schools that they build,
they're very expensive.
And they're very expensive. Those who contributed and build those schools cannot send their children there. How? Where is the rationale? And that is why we need to discuss some of these things. I was in church today and someone came and presented a calendar and said, you need to know your priest. And the question I asked those around me, if I need to know my priest, I need to buy that calendar to know my priest. Why don't you share the calendar so that I should know my priest? Do I need to buy the calendar to know my priest? So you find that the deeper the mind is all about business. Why is it all that? We need to discuss some of these things. So the church leaders, who, I don't know, from which
denomination,
I mean, we have to be able to speak this out. Because we have realized that the church leaders, there is that issue of capitalism that's entered in church. Capitalism means that what? The leaders, they want to have all for themselves and none for the Christians. So the Christians are allowed one option, to pray. Just go and pray.
Papa don't mind, just pray. God will help you.
God will help you.
But Papa, you know, say we need bench for church. Wow. So anyhow.
It's terrible.
Thank you very much. I'm coming back to you. Let me get to Tony take on this mission. Good afternoon, Javis. Please, I would like to know if pastoral work is an occupation or a calling. If it is not a profession, then I think pastors should have something doing aside their pastor calling. Pastor even supposed to be politician in other to bring transparency into the system. This is coming from someone in Mudeka. This one says, hello, good morning, good afternoon. I appreciate you all in the studio for educating Cameroonians. The truth is that we are lazy. I don't have anything, but God has blessed me with skills that I manufacture all types of food processing machines. I try to train people even for free, but nobody is ready. We only need cook food. Impossible. I am Frank writing from Du. Doctor, you have gotten it from someone. I'm saying that for free. Somebody wants to give you knowledge for free.
They will not take it.
What is the problem, doctor? You deal with young students. You deal with, what's the problem? And how do we have a different mindset now?
Now the problem is, oh, by the way, I think
Africans don't give for free. Let Dr. Nick say that. That free is not free.
It's free.
It's not free.
no, it's free. I mean,
All in Africa is politicized.
no, I mean, we are talking here about, we are serious about some things. You know, these days, if you want a child to carry a bucket of water, he will not do it for free. You have to pay for it. And so it's that mindset of money. And people don't want to do anything serious, you know, to improve their lives. They don't want to pay the price. You don't want to go through that difficult process of learning something new that you can apply and eat. You just want things for free. Is this free things mentality that's really killing us? And if we don't change this mindset of having free food, it's going to be very difficult for us. I don't know how we're going to correct it. Since we spend most of our times in bars where there's free beer, free nkang, free sha, and all these kind of things. You know, I come from Kambe, from Donga Mantung, and I've had a lot of problems with my people sometimes, because when I pin them down and say, let us examine and find out, what do the men of the Wimbum tribe, what do our men do when they get up from bed at 7 a.m. up until when they go to bed at 10 p.m. or something like. Let's account for their time.
Let's have a review. Let's
review of what they did on Monday, Tuesday, you know, for 1 week, for 1 month, and so on. And when you come up with this kind of topic, you know, sometimes you are just insulted and then things like that. But when you look at it strictly, the women are working while the men are drinking. So drinking becomes a way of life. Okay, and there's no way you can just go around drinking and you make and you'll be okay. So we need to find out why do they spend most of their time drinking? I had tried to reason it out, and as you know, in a traditional setting, you can only make money through farming. Okay, that's agriculture.
Yes.
Only make, when I say only make, of course, it's not true. We are saying that 70% of people would be able to do that. So when we go into the farming and see how it's organized, the farms belong to the women. Are you now seeing the problem? The farms belong to the women, and the men don't have farms, so to speak. And then when the men have farms, because of this notion of cash crops, the men were seen to be growing coffee and cola nuts and something like that. So, and when a man is growing coffee, he has this sense of ego thing. And then the women are supposed to be cultivating corn and beans and granules. That's a woman's kind of thing with vegetables. So it looks like, you know, if you are not man enough when you are seen to be growing vegetables, you see. So it's a mindset, and we need to switch this around and change it and see how we can now help our men to actually, let's say, grow something like cassava on a large scale, which is manly, grow wheat on a large scale, which is manly, you know, give them tractors to grow corn on a large scale, which is manly. So it's about changing these perspectives, and a lot would change. So that's why we keep saying mindset changes in our system. We need to know why people are failing. We need to know why they are drinking. We need to know why they don't want to do those things, and then help them to overcome those difficulties, and it shall be well.
I have a message here that somebody has written. Doctor, I'll read this message to you after the program. Yeah. It is a very short message.
I hope it's not insulting
me. It's not insulting. It's something we had discussed before the program.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
You say you would not like to talk about it.
Yeah, no. So no, it's after the program.
So that particular message, I'll read it after the program. Let me
I know it's someone who wants to borrow money from me. I understand.
No, it's not money. It's not money. The person is just saying that.
No, leave it like that. Leave us so.
The person borrowed money from. I don't confused.
Leave us so. I know the message. I'm just distracting people. I don't know that.
I said, Mr. Javis, good day to you all in the studio. I am Eli from Limbe. Please, bro, the program is a nice program, but we are unable to follow it because of some sound quality. I'm sure it should be from your own cable distributor, your cable distributor from your area. I pray that they handled it. This other one, right, it says, happy Sunday to you, people in the studio. Thank you very much for this program. I've really learned a lot. I think that our church now should start investing in agriculture. Imagine if the church has big farms like CDC. That will create a lot of food and will also empower a lot of young people to work in this plantation. At the end of the day, the GDP of the country will grow, and nobody would like to be blaming the government. To me, I see investing in agriculture is not an issue of governance, but an issue of free will. And this is what Doctor has been saying, which I believe that, Doctor, please, you need to tell us how we can engage in this agriculture from a large scale. Probably hold seminars with some churches to understand, to make them understand the need of investing in agriculture and getting farms and plantation. The message is quite long, but it was very necessary to read. And this other one, right, it says, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. I like the program. Thank you very much. This one says, good day, Javis. I prefer, thank you very much. This other one, right, it says, good afternoon, guys in the studio. Now, thank you very much, Nick, for coming.
Okay, thank you. Just before I go, I just want to say that churches investing in agriculture has to do with church leadership. They have to change their mindset, because most of church leadership, they believe that if a church leader needs 100,000 francs today, he knows that he has 100 Christians. You just announce and they bring. So they are used to this kind of easy way of getting money. So it would take somebody who is courageous, who has a leadership mindset, who has a growth mindset to kind of encourage the Christians to like invest in agriculture and the rest. So we are encouraging maybe the bishops of our churches to kind of like implant this into the mind of their priests, so that they should have programs. At least every parish, every church should have a farm, at least to take care of the priests who live there. They should be able to maybe grow their own food and eat. At least it starts from there.
At least even grow the food and come and sell it to the Christian in a subsidized rate.
It starts from there.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dimancho, for coming.
Well, thanks so much. And to say the least, sometimes it's not good to condemn all. Like, I would like to praise the initiative of the Catholic Church in Bonamosadi, a lady of Annunciation. There's what they call the business Sundays, where they use talents are being put into play. You bring what you are producing and you are able to sell. A lot of people have been buying a lot of good things from these youths. This is the way to promote youth entrepreneurship, and it's very important. Secondly, please permit me to say that next year we are entering a very, very crucial year in Cameroon, and one of the cries that we as civil society, we have been going around trying to preach is that each person should register and own a voter's card. It is only through that we'll have a meaningful change in Cameroon. Cameroon next year will have an unstoppable change, and this change can only come from us. Let each and every person, don't say you have been rooting what has happened. This time around, something is going to happen. We are happy with our antennas that we have been creating. Last week we were in Buya, we created an antenna. At least we have been going on, and we're getting a lot of reception of this message all over. So I'm inviting every meeting house, every person, individuals, groups, sensitized people, let people register, get their voters card, and then let's get ready for next year. And then we choose our candidates that we want change, because we have all been condemning Cameroon and saying that Cameroon is where we are because of bad leadership. How is the good leadership going to come about? It's going to come about our own individual and collective effort by choosing the people we want to lead us as of next year, 2025. It's a year of unstoppable change. Please, Cameroonians, register and get your voters card and wait for next year. Anybody talking about a segment of a party like the Progressive is here and all of that, we are going to choose people. If we see that Progressive has a good agenda, we are choosing people that will serve us in the Progressive Party. We do not have any particular party.
The way your hand is going is like they are already progressive.
Well, that's the thing. We don't have any particular party in mind, but we want that anybody who sells a good agenda, manifestos to us, we are going to encourage and we are going to support.
When you say you are going to choose Progressive, is Progressive a party on its own?
Well, I'm not saying that we're going to choose. Well, Dr. Nick has an agenda, even though it's virtual, but we think that he is leading up to something, and next year he will propose to us something concretely that we are going to abide by. Of course, he has a party close to his heart, And he is going, knows exactly that this is a party that will incorporate the ideas of the progressive. That is it. Okay. We know the progressive is still in the mind, but he knows exactly what he's looking at.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming.
Oh, thank you very much. I was dreaming about the prospect of progressive radio. Okay, thank you very much. Just to say that a lot of things have not been working in our country, but those have to be corrected. And President Paul Biya has started by correcting the mistake in the higher education. Let's call it as it's by its name, the mistake. The mistake, which was that for the past 60 years, we've just been training youths, not really knowing what we are doing. They just go and tell a lot of stories and come out and they're on the streets riding motorcycles. So there's a stop to that, correcting what is being taught in the state universities, correcting what is being taught in the private universities, and then beyond that, it is said that all state and private universities must create industries. And this is also going to go down to the secondary and primary schools, and this is also going to be translated to the churches. Those churches, the only way to stop all those miracle churches is that we are going to grow miracle cocoyams. if you cannot grow miracle cocoyams, your church will be closed. I'm talking. Be careful. We will grow miracle plantains, miracle corn, and miracle beans. So when the time comes, those things come from Mina.
So
the authorizations come from Mina.
Go to a farm and bring the pastors.
Pray. Now, if you don't show us your farms, how you are empowering your Christians, and you only pray to them about miracle money, I bet you that your church is going to be closed. Watch and see.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nick, for coming. Thank you, Nick, for coming. Thank you also, Dr. Dimancho. Unfortunately, we could not get Nana from Skype because of connection issue. This program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. Rebroadcast is on Sunday, this same Sunday at 10:30 p.m. In case you missed today's edition, want to apologize for those who usually follow us online because of internet issue. We're unable to stream it, but the program will be probably brought to you on your platform's YouTube channel. By the end of this evening, you have a YouTube channel link which will be posted on our official Facebook page. I want to thank you, Desmond, also Chairman Alain, for the production. Until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you is that let us now see miracle cocoyam, miracle plantain, as Dr. Nick said. If you claim you are that powerful, we don't want miracle money. Let's see miracle cocoyam. Thanks. My name is Tah Javis Mai, Communist Commercial Capital Douala. Fengu John Bange. Until we meet again, bye-bye and stay out of trouble.